Hello community, welcome back to my channel, Decipher IELTS with Holly. I'm so happy to see you guys again and it is so inspiring to know that you're working really hard on your exam. I'm here to help. My name is Holly and I'm the founder of this channel. For those of you who aim to achieve band 9 out of 9 on the IELTS listening test, you must answer 39 to 40 questions correctly. And what does that mean? It means that there's no room for silly mistake. And how can we avoid making silly mistakes and answer every single questions correctly? In my personal experience, it is really pivotal that you understand yourself and you know about your pattern. In your ask yourself a really honest question. In which scenario do you usually make mistakes? What are these mistakes? Why do you make them? Is this because you don't know about some new words, or because you don't stay focused a lot during the listening test? And next, try to find solution. So when we know the mistakes, when we know what they are, when we know the reason behind, we need to figure out the solutions and the remedies to solve the problem, to avoid these mistakes so that we can achieve our optimum score. I've talked with a lot of international students, and they usually confuse between the pronunciation of different words, and among these words are letter A, letter H, and number 8. How could it happen, right? Yeah, it is a valid question, because when we are talking now, we under a very normal situation. We understand, we proactively pay attention to these words, and we try to make sure that we are pronouncing correctly. But under the exam pressure, it's really hard to maintain our calmness. And usually, with 40 questions to answer, students find it really hard to differentiate differentiate between pronunciations and avoiding mistake. So today we're gonna talk about the three letters: letter A, letter H, and number 8. We're gonna talk about pronunciation. And then we move ahead with some IELTS questions. And last but not least, I will share with you some resources that you can use to improve your listening skill. So this is just 3 simple. I just want to bring it up because my main point is for you to pay a little bit attention to yourself and really know yourself, so that you can correct and better prepare for your exam. Without further ado, let's get started. First, we talk about pronunciation. In IELTS, there's different accents. When you listen to the IELTS recordings, you notice that sometimes you hear American accent, sometimes British accent, and sometimes Australian accent. So it's actually very versatile, and you need to know how different words are pronounced in different accents. So for letter A is pronounced the same in British English as in American English. It is called A. Similar to A, H is pronounced as H in British English and H in American English. But in some special scenario, you will notice that sometimes H is pronounced H. Isn't it weird? Yeah, we are learning the new language, so we just learn. No question asked, I think. But we know that we better know some exception, so that if anything happen, we can react and respond more proactively. And the letter 8. Letter 8 is pronounced 8 in British English as in American English. So these three words are kind of similar, same but different, and the ways that differentiate between these three words is how you pronounce at the end: a, h, h, and eight. So let's bring these words into the exam context, so that we know what we are talking about. So in the next 4 slides, I'm gonna share with you the some examples that I take from the real IELTS materials, and I want you to pay particular attention to the way letter A, letter H, and number 8 are pronounced. So let's listen and see how it goes. The first example is copied from IELTS sample test questions. So let's get started. And before we start, I want to highlight one more time that I want you to pay attention to the pronunciation of letter A, letter H, and number 8. Okay, let's listen.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a customer and an agent at a company which ships large boxes overseas.
Good morning, Packham's shipping agents. Can I help you?
Oh, yes. I'm ringing to make inquiries about sending a large box, a container, back home to Kenya from the UK.
Yes, of course. Would you like me to try and find some quotations for you?
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I need a few details from you.
Fine.
Can I take your name?
It's Jacob Mkere.
Can you spell your surname, please?
Yes, it's M-K-E-R-E.
Is that M for mother?
Yes.
Thank you. And you say that you will be sending the box to Kenya?
That's right.
And where would you like the box picked up from?
From college, if possible.
Yes, of course. I'll take down the address now.
It's Westall College.
Is that Westall?
Yes, college.
Westall College. And where's that?
It's Downlands Road in Bristol.
Oh, yes, I know it. And the postcode?
It's BS8 9PU.
So how did it go? I'm sure that you guys answered these 3 questions, but actually 2 questions correctly. For the sake of learning, we're gonna hear the recording one more time. But keep in mind that in the real exam, you have only one chance to answer the question.
And you say that you will be sending the box to Kenya?
That's right.
And where would you like the box picked up from?
From college, if possible.
Yes, of course. I'll take down the address now.
It's Westall College.
Is that Westall?
Yes, college.
Westall College. And where's that?
It's Downlands Road in Bristol.
Oh, yes, I know it. And the postcode?
It's BS8 9PU.
Right.
So what you got? I'm sure you answered all of these questions correctly. The correct answers are B for question number 2 and C for question number 3. Did you pay attention to how these letters were pronounced? Awesome. Let's go to the second example, and I want you to really just focus on the way the pronunciation of letter A, letter H, and number 8.
Now listen and answer questions 3 to 10. So will you fill in the form or shall I?
I'll do it. Name, George O'Neill. Address, 48 North Avenue, West Sea. Do you remember our new postcode? Still can't remember it.
Just a minute. I've got it written down here. WS6 2YH. Do you need the phone too?
Please.
How did it go? Did you hear A, 8, or H? Yes, you got it right. The correct answer is C, WS6 2YH. So, through these two examples, I want to share with you that it depends on different person, and so everybody has different kind of weaknesses and strengths. So you really need to understand yourself, and after you practice, try to note down the mistake that you just made. It's not like we're focusing on mistake, but we are trying to learn about ourselves. Let's put it that way. We're trying to learning about ourselves, and then make some adjustment needed. So maybe some people will have different issue, maybe they have problems differentiate between S and X. So it's really vary among people. So I really recommend that you spend more time with yourself and try to note down your common errors so that you can make a more improvement needed. So last but not least, I will share with you some resources that you can use to improve your IELTS listening test. Before the exam I took in August 2020, I practiced all of the 15 books of the Cambridge IELTS practicing a practice test, and I find them are very useful. I also did practice on the road to IELTS or British Council, but I think these materials are much more advanced than the Cambridge IELTS practice tests. So for those of you who are preparing for your exam and who are at the beginning of your time, just focus on, I recommend that you focus on the 15 books of Cambridge IELTS to get yourself familiar with the exam, to listen to different accents, and to learn vocabularies from readings, and try to practice writings and speakings and the speaking tests. The second book that I recommend is The Clear Speech of Judy Gilbert. I find it's extremely useful, and I could differentiate the way different words or different vowels and consonants are pronounced in different social contexts. So it's really useful for me to improve my IELTS exam, my listening skill. So that's it for today, and I hope you find this channel useful. Please subscribe and introduce it to your friend so that more and more people will be beneficial from what we are doing. Thank you so much for your time today, and see you next time. Bye.